Hello and welcome to the 107 podcast with myself, Ash, and my co-host Jacob. Jacob, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
I mean, you have to be the raciest racing driver of all time to go for gaps that don't exist, don't you? Let's be honest.
You know what?
World Championship
Define
confirmed.
gap. Define gap. Gap. What? Technically, this is a gap. It doesn't have to fit the car.
No,
but-
true. Theoretically, there should be a car-sized gap if you're going to go for an overtake. But hey,
You didn't say car-sized gap.
No, true.
If we're gonna break it down,
And
you
who
said you
are
just gotta
we?
go for a gap.
Who are we to argue?
Exactly. We
With
don't
the great
know how to
Ayrton
drive
Senna.
Formula One cars.
No.
So
Jesus. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's podcast. Yeah, we're going to be chatting everything Canada. And of course, we're going to get into the papaya incident at some point later on. If you haven't already, drop us a follow, rate the podcast. Do it now. Rate it as 5 stars because it's gonna be good this week. And come and check us out on Instagram. Come and follow us on our socials. We are around. We are always happy to chat. So yeah, come and say hello and join in the stupidity of being an F1 fan with us. Cool. Canada. I'm going to ask how we. I've forgotten to do it for a while. How are we feeling about F1 at the moment? Are we like P1, P3, P20? Where are we? Where are we feeling? Are you excited?
Yeah, I am excited. Right? Because we've got a championship battle.
We do.
We do, and it's not just the McLaren drivers, right? George is sneaking up there. Max is up there.
I saw a lot of memes of being like George Russell does nothing, wins a race. Like,
we're getting exciting races, which I feel the races have a weird pattern. Tell me if I'm wrong. You have a very interesting start, and then it dies in the middle as everyone's just pit stopping and just working the gas, and then it just spices up at the end. Canada was the same. Spain was the same. Yeah, so I just feel there's a pattern to these races kind of thing. Yeah, I definitely P3, P2, not P1 because I think it would be P1 if we had a good title fight. We haven't really got a good title fight. But the Lando's won, or Oscar's won, or they've come P3, P4, P5, P6, wherever it is.
Yeah, I feel like maybe like P4, P5 at the moment. You know, I love them some Lando, and I'm obviously a bit disappointed. But I mean, by the time we next chat, we've got Austria, right, which is going to be great. It's also typically a track that Lando does pretty well at. Just going to put that out there. So I feel as though, true.
So does Max.
So I feel as though there are some things that are going to swing around in Austria. I don't know. I just have a funny feeling.
I think it's Max's to lose in Austria.
Ooh, interesting take. We haven't even gotten to the predictions for that, but it's also F1 film release weekend as well. So I feel like
world premiere. World premiere is today.
It is today, but I won't be seeing it until Wednesday. Say next week, Wednesday next week. I think I've got tickets Wednesday.
Yeah. So you're going to the premiere, like that's when it's out.
Day of release
right?
In Denmark. Day of release is when we're going.
So that is. I thought it's the same everywhere. It's out on the 25th here as well. So
yeah,
I think I'm going in July.
You're waiting that long? Unbelievable. Stop the podcast. I'm done.
You're gonna see it in IMAX, mate. Gonna go see it in IMAX.
Yeah, I do want to see it in IMAX, but there's not that many cinemas near me that actually have it. But anyway,
whose fault was that?
Well, it's completely my own. But still, I feel like not next weekend because we have a week off and then we're back into Austria. I feel as though that will be sort of P1 levels of Formula One excitement. You know, because also on a personal note, I'm going to go see Pitbull on the Friday as well. So.
Have you got your skin-colored cap?
No, I'm not doing the ball caps.
Why not?
Ball caps, no.
Oh, you're not a real fan then.
No,
you're not a real fan.
But anyway, back to Canada because there was a little bit of a segue there. No, it's always just good to see how you're feeling about F1, especially after this weekend's race because I know that neither of us are George Russell fans. but I'm not annoyed that he won, but I'm not happy that he won. He just won, you know? I'm not like, you know, like, even though he's British, I'm not like, like, congrats, fantastic, you did very well, you put it on pole, you beat Max, blah, 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 but I'm not like, yeah, you know?
So I'm not a George Russell hater,
No,
right?
me neither.
I'm not his biggest fan, but
No.
I think he's underrated.
Yeah.
I think he's overlooked in terms of driver. I think
Mm.
he it's not a mistake, but he joined Mercedes when Lewis Hamilton was there. So immediately he's just going to have people who are just like, I don't like
Yeah.
you. Right, I just don't like you. You're coming up against Lewis. You're beating Lewis. But I'll say this. And I mean this in the nicest possible way, because obviously I don't know George, right? And you only see snippets of them on race weekend. He doesn't have any personality. Does that make sense? Like someone like Colapinto, who's just like crazy, right? Or even
Right.
Lance Stroll, it's just like he's just got that like, I just don't care. I'm here because I'm rich. But he just doesn't have anything about him that's like you can just connect with. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah, I don't.
Basically, he's Adrian Newey's perfect driver.
Oh, okay,
You
right.
just go in, just drive the car, and that's it.
I have nothing against George. However, I've just realised, because he's now won a race, he's going to be acting Billy Big Bollocks, isn't he? He does that every time he wins a race. He's like, "I'm the best driver in the world," and I'm like, "Yeah, you won once. Let's simmer down just a tad."
He's just like, he needs. Do you know what he needs? He needs controversy. That's what he needs.
Yeah, but he had that contact with Matt. He made a joke about Max and a penalty point going into turn one. He's funny, haha.
It's just,
I don't know what it is. More. There's something. I don't dislike him. I like him, but I don't quite like. I'm not, you know, like if I went to a race and George Russell won, I don't think I'd care. So I just wouldn't care. I don't. Anyway, enough. Essentially dissing George Russell.
It's funny you say that. I was more excited about Kimi Antonelli potentially.
Oh yeah, I was more excited about Kimi. Yeah,
than like Max going after George.
Yeah. I was more excited about Kimi for sure.
Basically, what George needs to do, he needs to get a couple of tattoos. Right? He needs to get absolutely wrecked, hit a nightclub. He needs to just absolutely just drop some F-bombs in press conferences, and he just needs to wind up Max Verstappen. And then I think he's going to get people on his side, man.
All right. Well, I'll hand that I'll hand this podcast recording over to.
That's what he is. He is the Weetabix of Formula One.
He's very meat and two veg, and you know what? Yeah. That's okay. That's fine.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But
like, for example, here is a really, really good thing. He has. We just turn this in back to the armchair analyst of George Russell. He has a Mercedes AMG 1. Right?
Yeah.
Right? When Lewis had I think it was you posted this a while back. He had a McLaren P1. His pictures of him standing on top of the P1, and he posted that on his socials, right? George posted very, you know, all right, give me the right light. Those kind of
he paid for a professional photographer to take
those photos. What he should have done is Alex, you drive the car and I'll film you as don't crash my car. That's what he should have done. Something like that, right? Or have Alex filming him driving the car.
So,
a bit aggressively.
Are you saying that we need George to enter his TikTok era and just start doing slightly unhinged things?
When has George been popular, right? When he gets the T-pose thing. Remember the T-pose? That's where George is super popular.
Yeah, but I think that's forced. But that was a good step in the right direction.
It's a good step in the
We should really send this to Mercedes PR, because we're here for it. We'll rebrand George.
Who's more popular than George? The little Japanese kid, right? Who loves George. He did more for George's profile. He was showing George more for him than any PR, any marketing, or anything that's happened.
At first, I thought you were talking about Yuki. And then I realised what you were saying. I thought you meant Yuki's more interesting. That's what I thought you meant.
Interesting.
And Yuki is more interesting. I would absolutely agree. But I did not know where you were going with that for a split second.
So,
Canada.
Just embrace the chaos. Embrace the chaos. That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying,
George needs to do some unhinged shit. Yeah, he needs to do something. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, Canada. He did very well putting it on pole, didn't he?
Super well. It was very competitive.
We always start our recordings and we chat about like the main one or two things, but I actually think that qualifying for me this weekend was one of the main one or two things, because I have a bit of a bone to pick. What the hell was going on with the tyres? What on earth is going on? Setting pole on a medium? What are we doing? What's that about? The soft was barely used. Pirelli, what are we playing at? What is going on?
I think that's good. I think that's a good thing.
I like the fact that it switched up a bit, to be fair. It brought Fernando Alonso in, who, by the way, had a fantastic quali. Unbelievable. And the guys on F1 TV were actually hyping him up and saying, like, you know what Fernando does every time he steps into the car? He extracts every single millisecond out of that car. And I'm like, yeah, it got me really hyped, actually.
Notice how, like, they improved the car. And he's like,
literally, they brought upgrades, and that's what he was saying on F1. He was saying that's what the guys on F1 TV were saying. He said that they brought upgrades at Imola, and he said, and essentially Fernando went, "I get it now. I understand the car." So apparently now Fernando's back, so I'll take it. But yeah, setting the pole on mediums, nah, that's naff. It's got to be on softs. Sorry, I disagree. I'm an F1 purist, and pole must be set on softs or wet intermediates. That's allowed too. But yeah, it has to be soft. So Pirelli, but boo Pirelli. I'll be honest with you. You know when F1 do those 5 winners and 5 losers from the Grand Prix, Pirelli should have been the biggest loser before Lando Norris for that fucking pathetic tyre strategy of the fucking different compounds. Why? It was useless. The soft was barely used. Make it interesting.
Although it was interesting, it stopped it from being a one-stop, and some people went hard, medium, hard, medium, hard.
We need different tyre manufacturers. Hankook will probably do it. We need different tyre manufacturers. Love it.
Nah, we don't.
Yeah, we want tyre wars. I don't care that the tyre expires after 1 lap. If you could do the whole of Canada in 30 seconds, I want to see. Anyway, that's enough chat about tyres for now. Anyway, were there any other standouts for quali for you?
I thought something needs to be done about the impeding. Because obviously Carlos was impeded by, was it Lawson?
I believe so, yes.
And he was like just a few tenths or hundredths of getting into Q2. So by another driver causing that, it wasn't Carlos's fault. Carlos didn't go off. He didn't make a mistake or anything like that. His entire race weekend is ruined, right? Because he's starting at the back of the grid. It's a completely different race for him now. So I think they need to look at impeding. And it might be something like if Liam Lawson makes it into Q2 and Carlos doesn't, maybe they swap. So, well, that's where you get
jeopardy. Okay, I like that.
But then that gives but there's that's easy to say now. It opens up a can of worms, because what if it was like Stroll that impeded you? It's like, well, you can't. Yeah, maybe you swap with the driver, and if whoever gets highest position, I don't know, kind of thing, right? But they need to do something about it, because it doesn't just ruin the qualifying; it ruins the whole race.
One-shot quali.
No, that doesn't work.
Why not? Why doesn't it?
There's a track evolution.
Sounds like a driver problem. Get faster, mate. Like, no, but if you do one-shot quali, but it's literally just drawing names out of a hat, I don't care. Interesting.
I've said like get rid of quali.
No, I think you need quali. Like it adds some more jeopardy to it.
It mixes up every race then afterwards. But I'm not going to go through that point again. Can we just jump straight to the meat of this two veg?
Yes, let's jump straight into the race.
Can we just jump straight to the papaya?
Yes, let's jump straight into the papaya. Right.
Okay.
For you, what the fuck happened?
So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it's being blown out of proportion.
Okay. How so?
Okay. So Lando makes his move, right? It's the wrong move. He admits it's the wrong move, but That's all it was. It was just the wrong move. I
Yeah.
don't think he was like under like extreme pressure.
No.
I don't think Piastri's playing mind games with him. I
Mm.
don't think anything that happened this weekend, Luca Rosberg taking a selfie at that very same
So
spot.
funny. That's
I just
so
thought like
so good.
he's super fast. He's coming up to Piastri. He's even faster because of the toe. He probably thought it's like Piastri will probably defend the inside line.
Yeah.
I'll go outside. Also going super quick. It's
Which
a
makes sense.
split-second decision. He goes so fast. He makes a mistake. He owns up to it, and he suffers now.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's any of this psychological Lando's broken stuff. It just happened. It just happened. Right? He was at fault. It was a mistake. It was like, yeah, like what the fuck happens? Like, come on, Lando. Maybe go for the inside. Maybe wait. Whatever it is. But I just think, in essence, because nothing happened to Piastri, it'd be like a racing incident. Right? That's what it was.
Yeah, Piastri. So here's my thing. Here is my impression of Oscar Piastri the entire time Lando Norris is gaining, hits him, and then carries on through the next corner. That's it. He will have just not reacted. I guarantee you, he probably would have felt some sort of impact like around the back.
If you
I'm gone. Huh.
If you look at the onboard, you know they've got the camera that's like rotates.
Yes.
You can't really tell that someone hit him.
No.
You can't. He doesn't like adjust. He doesn't correct anything. You can't really tell
nothing.
something.
Like literally, he would have gone. Oh, Lando's out then. Like in the mirror. Like he wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Like, and
that's kind of like more.
I'm gonna say it as well. I guarantee you that Piastri wasn't thinking, and this is the key difference between the two drivers. Piastri wasn't thinking of the short term. Piastri was just like, I'm going to defend my position. If he passes me, he passes me. And I will say, Lando was the quicker driver over the race distance, right? That alternative strategy helped him, and he managed his tyres very well. And I think that had Lando, stayed ahead coming into just before the Wall of Champions and gotten away, I don't think he would have caught Kimi or anything like that. But I believe that Lando was the quicker driver and would have stayed ahead of Piastri. Just my opinion, right? Overall, over the weekend, taking out that incident, I think he was the best driver. However, when you put that incident in, Lando is thinking very, very short term. Now, one thing I did hear is a few people said they should have used team orders and asked Oscar to move out of the way. I personally think that would have been wrong to do. Are you in agreement?
I'm in agreement.
Yeah, right. That would have been a really weird thing to do. I love the fact that McLaren went, you know what? Race each other. I love the fact that his racing engineer turned around and went, you know what? Get him in the DRS. He's not got DRS from Antonelli anymore. Or like kept him up to date. He had DRS at the time of the incident, or like the straight before or something. Anyway, but so I love the fact that Lando's race engineer was egging him on, like encouraging him, being like, "This is where you can like remember to recharge, remember to do this, like blah 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 blah." And the switchback move down that back straight at the last hairpin was fantastic, brilliant, absolutely very clean racing, loved it. Now, if Lando, bear with me. If Lando had just sat behind Oscar and gone, you know what, I did that switchback at the last hairpin, I'll recharge my battery again over this lap or the next 2 laps, because there were a few laps left as well, and try and go for that similar move again, or maybe use DRS or whatever it is on the next few laps, he would have been thinking more long term, the whole championship. But I think Lando potentially, obviously wanted to overtake. And I love that hunger and that drive from him to try and overtake Oscar where he's A, not expecting it, and B, to try and just get it done as quickly as possible. Because maybe Lando is thinking, maybe I can go and get a podium. Maybe, who knows? Oscar's 10 points ahead of me in the championship, or however many points it was at that time. However, in long term, like I said, he should have just gone, hold on a minute. Maybe I can wait for an easier opportunity. Maybe I should think about the whole year rather than one race result. Because now, how many points has Lando lost out on this weekend? Was it 14 points? Something like that? 12, 14 points?
12 points, yeah.
So, it's just not great. The one thing I would say, however, and I had a conversation with somebody about this at work, and I said it would be gutting if Oscar lost the championship at the end of the year by the amount of points that he lost by going off in Australia in the first race. That would be absolutely gutting if, for example, I don't know how many points he lost. Let's say it was 15 out of nowhere. Let's say he dropped 15 points because he came off the track and dropped down loads of positions, and he lost the championship by 15 points or 14 points or whatever it would be over the entire season, right? That would be really, really gutting. But with this incident, I kind of argue that it levels the playing field in terms of bad results for both McLaren drivers. However, the problem is that Oscar's just been stupidly consistent since Australia, and I'd argue Australia was partly just shit luck. And Oscar's been, smashing it. So it was one of those few opportunities I also feel that Lando will get over the season to actually try and close that gap or maybe even overtake Oscar in a championship. So that was my again, you cannot be thinking this while traveling at 250 kilometers an hour. You were just trying to think, oh my God, I need to pass him. But maybe a race engineer should have come over the radio and said, think about the long game, try and get him back again. Maybe there was no chance, whatever. But in retrospect, or in hindsight, which is a beautiful thing, he probably should have thought about the longer battle rather than the short-term potential gain of overtaking his teammate. I can understand different arguments, but it's, for me, when I saw the incident as well, it was not surprising. I've gone, yeah, classic Lando. He's done something really stupid. That was a lot for me to say, but what do you think about what I've said, and then what do you think about the incident?
I think, again, I just think people are just blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
I think so. I think, maybe you're right in some sense of thinking long term and short term. This is the first time. Maybe first time is probably maybe like time and a half when Lando is actually in a championship battle from race one.
Lando had a taste of it last season. This is the full fat Coke that he's now on.
So maybe, that experience isn't there, like you said, of thinking like, just leave it now. It's better to be in fifth place rather than last place, kind of thing. It's because you saw that a lot with Max in 23, where if he would get overtaken at the start, he wouldn't dive bomb or anything. It's like, no, I've got the quicker car. I'll get him. Right. That's it. So maybe, and that's just going to come with time. I think maybe that shows, because what did Lando go? He went F2. Did he win any championships in F2 and F3?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because obviously Oscar's won the championship in F3 and
First
F2.
time of asking.
Right. So he has a bit of that mentality where I know what it takes to look at the bigger picture and see it's okay if I don't win every race, if I don't get pole or anything.
He did win F2, by the way.
I think he's won everything, yeah. So, he's kind of like a little bit like Alain Prost, where like, I'll just do what's needed of me. Thing. Whereas like Senna's like 100% balls to the wall every time. So we shall see. I think, I don't think people are making it out to be more than it is. I think Lando's like, yeah, this is behind me. Got a 2-week break. I head to Austria. It's a track I'm good at, and see what happens. So yeah, I was just like more concerned that Oscar wouldn't pass Kimi Antonelli, because I really wanted Antonelli to get a podium. And I was hoping Antonelli would get second, because towards the end of the stint, he was just getting Max. And every time he was about to overtake Max is when he pitted. I was like, is he going to get it on the last stint? And he wasn't able to. And then Oscar was catching him. I was like, no, give him his podium. He's done really well. He qualified P4. Yeah, I was really happy that Kimi got a podium. But I was like, thank God. Yeah, thank God. Yeah, but overall, it was... Apart from that, really not too much happened in the race. It was a little bit like Lewis Hamilton. It's just nothing. Right? We're in a little place here. Do you see that he killed us? A Mamrot? Whatever they're called.
Groundhog.
Yeah, but they're called something else, didn't they?
I thought it was a groundhog. I just double checked. Lando won.
Marmot. Yeah. Marmot. Yeah, that's what he ran over that caused him the loss of downforce, apparently.
I thought it was a groundhog. Yeah. So Lando won the F3 championship, the European championship, And then he came second in the F2 championship.
All right. So he has some experience of
Oh yeah,
championship battles.
guess who won the 2018 Formula 2 championship?
Oscar Piastri.
Nope. Try one more.
Colin Pinto. Wait, 2018. Wait,
2018.
George Russell.
Yep, George Russell.
Wow. Oh man. But yeah, I think people are bringing it out of proportion. Even like Andrea was like, at the end of the day, not but both cars weren't taken out. It was a
Yeah.
mistake. He owned up to it immediately. They'll talk about it in the debrief, but it's
Yeah.
not like a multi-21
No, I
situation
don't think
or
so.
anything like that. Or Austria 20. No, not Austria. Spain 2016. Was it Spain
Yeah, Spain
2016?
2016.
Yeah. It's not something like that. So
No. And I think what helped was Lando admitting fault immediately.
yeah,
That really,
he
really
knew.
helped.
He knew.
He knew
Like,
instantly, like, fuck, that's my fault, my bad, on me, and took it on the chin, which I actually really admire as well. So it was a whoopsie for Lando. I just wonder, towards the end of the year when there's only 10, 15 points in it or whatever it is, when we get to the business end of the season, whether or not he'll regret what he did. Or maybe he'll use this as a learning experience. I actually don't know. Couldn't tell you. And that's why we love the sport, because we have no fucking idea what we're talking about.
no, nobody does really.
No, we can't predict the future either. So yeah, that's what makes it interesting. But yeah, are we about done with the incident? Is there anything else to anything else a part of it? Cool. But we are looking forward to seeing them on track again, in terms of like seeing the two McLaren drivers on track, and I think having that was a good battle. I think there will be more throughout the season. That was a nice just a cheeky little taste of it. That was a nice appetizer, and now I'm ready for the meat and two veg.
Gosh,
So
we've just like George Russell.
We love analogies.
Our minds.
But yeah,
just George Russelling this.
We are George Russelling this. Any other points from you around the race? Like any other incidents or bits and pieces you want to talk about?
What were your thoughts on Red Bull protesting George Russell erratically braking under the safety car? And then the second question is, what are your thoughts on the whole safety car confusion that happened at the end?
Define confusion.
Where some drivers thought you could overtake because the safety car could come in. Some drivers were like, you got to stay at safety car speed. And some drivers were like, this is it, full blown, put it down, put the accelerator down, but no one's going to overtake me because we technically ended under the safety car.
Yeah, you can't overtake before the start finish line either as well. So for me, I understand why the safety car went in, but if we're gonna finish on the safety car should just do the lap.
I understand why people got confused. Like Yuki got confused. Like the drivers were like, do we go safety car speed? What's going on? Like, it was, even I was confused. It's like, just what's going on? So FI need to clarify that.
Yeah, it should have been a bit clearer. But
it should just be stay at safety car speed, finish in your order. That's it.
Yeah. But going back to Russell George now.
Yes.
For me, George, I'm a big fan of your work. I love the shithousery. I love the fact that George tried to get Max a penalty point. I'm here for it. I loved it. I thought it was great. I love shithousery like that. And if it was Max doing it to George, and Max is usually a little bit of a Karen when it comes to this stuff, if it was on the other foot, it would be almost exactly the same situation. Protesting it, I get why they did it, because they want to, make sure that, you argue every point if you can, especially if there's a race win in it for you, or a penalty point or whatever it is. We sort of knew nothing was really going to come of it. Worst case is that they're just going to go, George, can when you're behind the safety car, can you not randomly fucking brake on a very fast straight? Cheers. That's about it. They're not going to do anything else. But I'm here for it. Hold on, George. Like when I saw him do it, I was like, "That's cheeky," but I like it. Like that's
I
like
think
it.
it was nothing. I don't think there was anything there.
No, you know what
No,
George is trying to do.
no, that's the thing. I don't.
No.
Nah,
Do you know what
nah.
you've done?
I'm a
You've fallen for the Max Verstappen propaganda there. You know what George is
Max
trying to
Verstappen
do.
propaganda. No,
You've
I
fallen
don't.
for it.
I would have fallen for the George. No,
You love
I
Max,
just
don't
think
you?
it's
You
no,
love
no. I'm
you.
on George's side.
What
I'm
do you
on
mean?
George's side here. As in, I don't think George did anything wrong. As in, I don't think he was trying to get Max a
Yes,
penalty
he
point.
was. Come
No, he was
on.
not.
Yes, he
No, he was not.
was.
He was just brake. He was just keeping the tires and also brakes well. That's
If
all he was
no,
doing.
no,
All he
no,
was doing.
no, you know what he was trying to do. You
No,
know.
no, no, no,
And
no,
I'm
no,
here
no.
for it.
I think you know what you are all putting your little theories in.
No, I love it.
I just think no.
Love
Do
it.
you know what the funny thing was? If you read the FIA documents, it's
Mm.
like what points Red Bull brought and then how Mercedes counted them. From how it reads,
Oh
it,
no.
it reads so basically Max went there with the new Jonathan Wheatley guy. What's his name? Steven something.
Sure.
The whole
Big
drama with Ted
Steve, yeah.
Kravitz. And I think GP went up there.
Sure.
And then Mercedes went with obviously George's race engineer and whoever their head of race operations is, right? Apparently
Oh,
George did all of the talking and just defended himself throughout the whole like he was a lawyer.
You know what we just said about George being boring? I'm here for it. I love the shithousery. I'm just going, you know what? Hold on. I don't know what his race engine is now, but imagine Bono, I've got this.
Yeah. No.
I've got this.
Is that stand behind me, brother? Stand behind me.
Do you mind? I'm talking.
Yeah. Apparently, he counted like every point. He's like, "Yeah, well, the reason I broke was like I was keeping the brakes warm." And then Red Bull like he looked in his mirror and then he broke because I looked in the mirror to make sure Max was behind me,
right behind. Okay.
You know, the great thing was right after he explained everything about what he was doing in the car, he goes, "And I did all that because I didn't know that the race wouldn't end under a safety car." Oh my god, it was. You know, what? I'm gonna send you the document.
And you're telling me you don't think this was on purpose with shithousery?
George just lawyered his way out of it. He lawyered it. You know what? I'm gonna find it right now.
You know what, George? Fair fucking play.
He lawyered his way out of it, and I was like, you know what? Fair play, fair fucking play, man.
That's, if true, fucking hilarious. That's so.
You know, because they write it in like they don't
like
write
a court
names.
document.
Yeah, they're right. The driver. This is not like so. The people this is Mercedes bought right was Ron Meadows I think it's Andrew Shovlin.
Yeah,
and the driver of car 63 George, right? And so Red Bull, and this is how it's written, right? Red Bull claimed this. Red Bull claimed that. Red Bull claimed that. The driver of car one said this. The driver of car one said that. Right? Mercedes say a couple of things. They mention telemetry and they submit like some team radio scripts, right? And what this shows is Max said one thing, George said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points worthy of being written on this document. It literally says the driver of car 63 explained that periodic braking is commonplace. On the back straight, he found himself catching the safety car. I braked for 2 reasons. Look at my telemetry. The driver of car number 1 should anticipate what I'm doing. It is not the responsibility of the car ahead to look out for the following car in any event.
I mean, to be fair, that's okay.
And then finally, he did not know the race would definitely end under safety car. So, it's like brilliant. Okay. Oh,
I love it. I love it.
It's good.
That's so good. George has gone up in my book after that. You should have led with that story at the beginning. I wouldn't.
I was reading this. It's like fucking hell. This guy is like the Harvey Specter.
Oh, I loved it. I love it. That's so good. That's actually so good.
Absolutely brilliant. I was like, yeah. Oh gosh,
that is good. Whew.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see the documentation or anything. But we also spoke about Kimi Antonelli on the podium. Woo, third youngest. Smashed
Yep.
it. Yeah, thought it was great. Can I also shout out, like, because we've forgotten about, a lot of things that have happened in this race. Can I shout out Nico Hulkenberg, P8?
Nico
P8.
Hülkenberg.
Everyone seems to have
Well played.
forgotten him in the Sauber tractor has fucking put it P8. Hats off, Nico. Absolutely fantastic. And Fernando Alonso finishing P7 is also pretty good.
Keeping the points up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all good. Just some points that were missed, I will also say that obviously this was the second to last race in Colapinto's alleged 5-race test. I don't know what we want to call it. He didn't do too badly, but I mean, he didn't set the world alight either. He did beat Gasly though. I will say that. So it's going to be interesting to see sort of what happens over the next couple of races for that second Alpine seat.
Yeah. I think the only other thing to kind of mention is Leclerc and Ferrari.
What about them?
Well, Leclerc was like, I want this strategy.
Oh, yeah. Plan B versus C. Yeah.
I think in that position, right? I understand and Martin Brundle was explaining this on the commentary.
Yeah.
It's like, look, the drivers only know what's kind of immediately around them, whilst the team have all the data, and they can see like this person's box, they might undercut us, this is happening, we need to get you out where there's no traffic, because as we saw towards the end of the race, traffic was a big issue.
Yeah.
But I think when Ferrari have come in and the whole weekend and kind of, we don't know what would happen in qualifying.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, look, we're not really anywhere. We're not fighting for the win. We're not probably even going to fight.
Yeah, they had no confidence in knowing where the hell they were going to be. Yeah.
So just listen to Charles. Just like, okay, we'll try a one stop or we'll try your plan kind of thing. Rather than like, no, we've got to protect from this person behind. It's like, it's just try something, right? But the cracks are starting to show in that relationship. They are starting to show.
I have seen a few rumors about Charles potentially trying to jump ship. I don't know how true they are. I have zero idea. Obviously, I'm not as well connected as some people are. For example, Charles. But no, I don't know. I have heard rumors, however, that he's potentially thinking of jumping ship. Now, I'll ask you: do you think he should?
Yes.
Ooh, why?
Because Fred told because there was all these like articles.
Oh yeah, the Fred rumors and shit. Yeah.
The Fred rumors, right?
Yeah.
But Fred said something very interesting. He goes, Ferrari have changed drivers, they've changed team principals, they've changed staff. What else is there left to change, right? And I think he's referring to upper management. And everyone seems like no one obviously knows what's going on, right? No one really, like you said, only the insiders know. But there's always been that thing. It's like we do it the Ferrari way, and the times when they didn't win is when they didn't do it the Ferrari way. Where like Ross Brawn, Michael Schumacher, and John Todt was like, we've got to do it this way.
Yeah,
we're going to protect people. We're going to make the final decisions, and look what that led to, right? And so whatever the Ferrari way is, whether it's like we stay in Italy, what it's not working, right? Because the last time I was thinking about this as well the other day, it's interesting brought up. The last time they won a championship was 2007. 2007.
Yeah.
And I know they've come close a couple of times, a couple of second places with Fernando. Last year they came second in the constructors. But if you look at it, right, there are periods where teams will dominate, right? So like Red Bull dominated, then Mercedes dominated, then Red Bull dominated. We don't know what's going to happen with McLaren, but like McLaren is like clearly fastest car.
Yeah.
I don't think since the Schumacher days that Ferrari have been over the whole season just the fastest car.
Yeah.
Even like 2007, I don't think McLaren's are quicker. 2008, I know Felipe was there, but Lewis won, and you can talk about what happened during that.
Hold on a minute. 2007, the McLarens were quicker. Why would that be, Ash? If you don't know, just go ahead and Google FIA Championship 2007 controversy.
Either way.
So maybe a Ferrari did win.
Maybe it did win. Yeah. It was just painted chrome.
Maybe the Ferrari way is McLaren.
Yeah. But even like in the Fernando days, right? It wasn't the quickest car.
No.
Right. And even in the Seb days, right? They were up against Mercedes. They've never had that period of dominance, right? Red Bull have come and gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Red Bull, at least they came, they lost in the engines, they got back a little bit in the new regs. Mercedes, they had their big dominance in the engine area. Yep. Okay, they're not back, but they're fairly new in this era of dominance, right? You never know. They could. A lot of people are saying they're going to smash next season.
Apparently, next year they are looking tasty for the engines, anyway.
If I'm Charles, I'm just thinking like, I'm always going to be the bridesmaid, right? I'm never going to be the bride, and. Do you want to stay with Ferrari and say, yeah, I'll race with Ferrari? Or do you want to potentially win a championship, right? Everyone thought Lewis was crazy going to Mercedes kind of thing, right? A lot of people are saying Max is crazy if he leaves Red Bull. But even Max stayed with Red Bull throughout, like, when they were the quickest car kind of thing. Because he saw what's coming. I don't think Charles can see what's coming, right? No one has said, new regulation change, Ferrari, they're the ones, right?
Yeah.
No one has said that.
No, not at all.
So if I'm him, and he can walk into any team, I think 27 is when he'll change.
I think he'll wait for he won't leave for 26. That would surprise me. But
I think he replaces Max. That's what I think.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
If Max leaves, so he's Max's replacement.
I'll be honest with you though, there is an outside chance George Russell's contract's up at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is crazy to think about. And that there is the potential for there to be a shocking move or two. That's all I'll say.
Is it Charles the contract to like 2028?
I believe so, yes. However, we all know, we've heard the rumors about there being performance clauses with Max's contract as well. Every single driver will have performance clauses in their contract. Even fucking Albon, who finished last, will have a performance clause in his contract or whatever it is. So, did Albon finish last? You know what I mean? But like every single driver will.
Yeah.
And there will be there will be buyout clauses as well. There'll be a whole bunch of stuff, right? And although you see Red Bull at the front at the moment, that's only with one car, and that's the way it's been for a long time. What if in reality that Red Bull is actually dog shit? And Max could very easily step into another team and could win a championship in a different car. We don't know. There are possibilities I can potentially see of 2026. Fernando Alonso is probably not going to have his contract renewed again, especially not at Aston Martin. There is potential for a move for Max to go to Aston Martin. Or essentially, I would argue that there is a free seat at the end of 26 for Aston Martin. Now, who's going to fill that? Don't know. But with George's contract up, that's a key thing as well. George's contract's up. Fernando will probably not have his contract renewed in 26 unless he wins a fucking championship. Let's be completely honest. Like, unless he's smashing it, he probably won't have his contract renewed. And then also that will create a little bit of a shuffle. So if it doesn't happen randomly at the end of 25, which would highly, highly shock me, end of 26 is going to be tasty because a lot of drivers' contracts are up in 26 now as well.
Lewis Hamilton's up.
Yeah.
And I think if Ferrari don't have the car, I just think
I think he'll retire, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not blame him.
No. And you've also got Red Bull bringing their own engine.
Yeah.
As well. So now you'll have Honda, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull. So
and let's not forget Cadillac will also be building their own PU at some point. So that's a few years away.
Audi might do the same.
Audi potentially will do the same as well. No, Audi will be doing the same. Sorry. But so there's a lot of variants that could potentially come into play. And for me, roundabout. I've rambled a little bit. It opens the door for Charles to leave Ferrari, and I think he should when he's ready.
I agree. Yeah,
And
I
the
think you're.
sole reason, forget the rest of it. The sole reason. Do you remember a certain young man called Sebastian Vettel?
Yep.
Do
Are
you
you talking about
remember?
what he wrote?
Do you remember what he wrote to Charles?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. Do you know the exact words?
Something along the lines of, "You have so much talent, don't waste it."
Yeah.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And on that note, we're going to wrap up the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. That's been a 45-ish minutes. That's not, it's not too bad. But considering we spent the first 40 minutes slating George Russell.
Slating. Yes. We just told him how to improve his image.
Yeah, by going to the FIA and arguing every single point yourself. Thank you very much for listening. If you haven't already, drop a follow, leave a rating on the pod and all that fun stuff. We really do always appreciate every single little bit of support. So thank you. I don't know if you saw, we got quite a few views on our YouTube channel video last week.
Oh,
check that out. So if you haven't checked us out on YouTube, maybe come and watch our beautiful mine glowing red face thanks to this.
Papaya.
Papaya.
If you're red, you'd be Ferrari.
Yeah, but I look a bit red on camera. That's more what I meant. But yeah, come check us out on YouTube. Come and say hello on Instagram. All that fun stuff. And we will be back. We'll be back to talk about the Austrian Grand Prix, which we've both been to a few years ago as well. I think so that'll be a fun one.
I will question you about the F1 film.
Yes, we should have a debrief about F1 film. I can't believe you're not seeing it.
Sorry.
Unbelievable.
If anything, the soundtrack so far, I'm actually enjoying the soundtrack.
I have only listened to the Tate McRae song. That's all I've listened to. So maybe I should listen to the whole album on my way to work tomorrow. Because I've just finished with the World War Z. Have you ever listened to the audiobook of World War Z? Fantastic. So good.
Well, I've only seen the film.
So the film is very the film is very good.
Isn't the film was completely different to the book or something, isn't it?
It's quite different. It's from the same world, but the film is the first month or so of the infection, and also the zombies act differently in the film to the books, right? But so in the film, it's chronological and stuff like that, whereas in the book, it's stories from all around the world, from different parts and different times of the whole situation, and it's how different countries dealt with it, the big battles, something they called the Great Panic, which is essentially when everything went to shit, and it's really, really good. I would highly recommend it. Genuinely, it's the first non-F1 related audiobook I've listened to in a while, and it's probably one of my favorite books. Genuinely, I really, really enjoyed it, and I've never once listen to an audiobook back. I will 100% be listening to that audiobook back.
Well, I'm going to see what George Russell thinks, and then I'll make my decision.
Fair play. I too will join the George Russell book club, and I wonder if Anita Driver's in there. We'll have to ask him. Thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you in the next one.
See ya.